yeah. Okay. So, there we go. One of the problems with using the little tabs to cover, like, as a lens cover, is apparently there's residue that sometimes gets left behind. So, was slightly blurry there for a second, but there we go. So we gathered here today to discuss defending plants. Yes. We have gathered for this guy. Rachel's holy hand grenade of Antioch. Yeah. Alright. Oh, okay. I don't have notifications set up, but I have the no. Chat, stop it. Really? Okay, one sec. There we go. Come on. Yes, I want you to be a separate thing. There we go. Wait. One sec. Right. Okay. Anyway, moving on, as I'm trying to wrangle the chat box into some semblance of what is happening. My point is, I had to move the chat over to see the activity feed because alerts aren't enabled right now, but thank you for the follow, Ronnie. So, I realize y'all can't see what's happening right now, but, like, the chat just decided to do weird things and not work as it's supposed to in OBS, so that's where we are right now. Alright, so we're good. Desktop audio, it's off. Mic audio works. Okay. There we go. Right. Moving on. Hi. Hello. How are you? Hope you had a good weekend, everybody. Okay. Participation awards should be called default medals. I mean, yeah, that would work. Okay. We'll keep an eye on the frame rate. Computers have a day of it, so yeah. I do need to do some updates, I think, still. Wait, let me see. I think. So we'll see on that one. Either that, or it's just being really slow. No, it's just being real slow. Okay. Yeah. Doing better now. I think the rearrange was the culprit. Yeah, probably. Like, it was having a time of it. We'll say that much. Alright. So. Ow. Just a suggestion. If you have glasses, or even if you don't have glasses, don't whack yourself in the head with a hardback book. It doesn't end well. Okay. So, here we go. Greetings, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to the stream, or the channel, or wherever this happens to end up after the stream is over. I'm organizing stuff so that I can actually edit it properly. Today we are going through the first part of the book. So, it's going to be broken up into 4 weeks unless something happens to alter that, which don't think so. But there's 8 chapters, so today is the preface or prologue? I can't remember. Preface, there we go. So today it's the preface through chapter 2. Next week is 3 and 4, and so on. So, here we go. We've been doing fiction for a bit, so this is back to nonfiction, and yeah. It's not like it's not heavy on the like scientific jargon, which I appreciate, just because, oh jeez, ow. There's an eyelash that's just right, ow, in there. Okay. Alright. Yeah. So, going back to, alright, the eye is okay now. There we go. So, we're going back to nonfiction after a few weeks of, or couple of months of doing fiction works. So, here we go. Thank you for the tea, Honeycomb. That is a good reminder to drink water, though. Alright. I'll just leave that right there. Okay. Hello. Right. Neither on that one. Right. Okay. Didn't have the brain for nonfiction, so we know he talks about fire as a part of the nature cycle and Lupin. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, we've got... is it chapter 1? One sec. Yeah, okay. So, the preface is basically setting up that most botanical education on a general level tends to be focused on what plants can do for people, what plants are useful for people, whether it's food or like herbalism or whatnot, not the role of the plant in nature itself or the importance of the plant on its own as its own distinctive organism. Which, yeah, like, I know like as a gateway into what okay, one sec. I was talking and then the screen glitched and now the chat box is gone. Right. There we go. Don't know where it disappeared to, but it's back now. Okay. Weird. Alright. So, anyway. Yeah. So, preface is setting up that plants are important in their own right, and that the planet is a very interconnected system of ecosystems and environments and things. And yeah. So before the computer just decided to do a weird glitch thing, what I was saying, like, I know personally my kind of gateway into being interested with plants was like, we've grown stuff for however long. We've always grown things, whether it's like spider plants or corn or something. And like succulents, they're cool and they're there and they grow in Southern California pretty well. We thought plants were less interesting than animals. And then we met. Yay. Spreading the interest in plants, like seeds in a good soil. Yeah, there we go. I'm okay being a gateway drug to an interest in plant knowledge, guys. I'm alright with that. Um, so, uh, yeah. But it's one of those that I've always been aware of plants because we've always grown them, but also, like, I'm allergic to certain things, so in order to have something that's non-dairy, it has to be a plant-based thing. Or there's certain plants that I seem to have a reaction to, so a plant-based thing minus this particular thing, or minus this aspect of a particular thing. And then there's like herbalism, because certain medicines have a positive and or negative effect depending on what's happening with it and your own particular physiology. But like at the end of the day, plants are just cool, right? And I remember when I was doing my master's research, for some weird reason, like, people would recognize that, like, herbs were plants, but, like, you couldn't wrap their heads around the wood for the tools that they were using being from plants. Like, it's a tree. It's oak and maple. Come on. So, that's where we're going with this. Okay, gardening is a gateway drug to botany. That'll keep the kiddos from mucking about with plants, especially poisonous ones. Exactly. Like, when it comes to kids and gardening, like, that's great. Totally. But, like, as a general thing, right? There's certain plants that even, as an adult, like, I mean, that's the same bunch that had a hard time identifying a dandelion, so, like, I'm not entirely surprised, but, like, also, what? It's like, ha! Yeah. But yeah, like, if you're doing work with plants and kids, it's kind of the same as plants and animals. Like, if they're gonna be in the same environments, until you can be reasonably sure that the person, animal, whoever has been instructed enough and is aware enough of the situation to not try and eat the thing that they're not supposed to eat, like, ever, just have them tending to the carrots or something. It's fine. It's on par with eggs coming from the grocery store. Yeah. I still have, like, the egg thing is its own situation, though, right? Because I still have people, when I say that I can't have dairy, then they come back with, but it has eggs in it. Like, okay, eggs aren't a milk product, so we're good. I realize that traditionally, like, there's, like, chickens on a dairy farm, so, like, that's where they're coming from with that, but like, dairy implies that it's from a mammal, just as a thing, right? If it's a foodstuff, then it's. Chickens aren't mammals. That's why they lay eggs. It's just out. Yeah, but yeah, with the oak and the dandelion situation, right? It's even worse because, yeah, okay. It's even worse because it was a bunch of pagans celebrating one of the festivals. It's like you're celebrating a turn of the year right now using wood implements. And like I guys. Okay. Alright, we're back. We still have medical people who tell we can't have dairy, and they're like, "Oh, what about cheese?" Seriously, my grandma, right? I've never been able to have dairy without some kind of massive situation happening, and she still tries to get me to like try goat cheese or something because that's totally gonna work. Like, for some people, if it's a digestive thing only, that might do something. But like, you've known me for how long? Like, just because you grew out of your allergies doesn't mean I have. Ugh. Seriously. Ah. Yeah, it's. There's just times when it's like, I realize that this might not be your particular expertise in the field that we happen to be in, whether it's medical or food or whatever. But like, how are you this out of the loop about it? Like, a little bit, fine, yeah, sure, whatever, I get it. But like, there's certain times that it's like 2 plus 2 is 9 sort of a level. Like that's not how that works. That's not how that works. uh Anyway, so there's that. Yeah. So right? There is a certain line in here, right, about the whole, like, people appreciating plants for what they can do, but animals for, like, being what they are. Then it's like, oh, yeah, that's, valid point, yeah, alright. Alright, what was it? Hop online or pick up a book, and you'll find that the vast majority of popular plant literature focuses on two major areas of interest: folklore and herbalism. Imagine wanting to look up information on animals such as black bears or pangolins, but all you can find is how to cut them up, process their organs, and make tinctures or food out of them. Any rational person would be outraged by this. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there is that and stuff. And then he goes on to kind of talk about the there we go. The difference between uh, you know, an organism having like thought and altruism and stuff versus having botanical relationships, because there are plants that have relationships with other plants, but it's not necessarily, quantifiable in a human anthropomorphization modality, if you will. So, there's that. Even though the language is like, this plant talks to this plant, and then X happens, or however is that. But yeah. Alright. So, in chapter 1, we're talking about what was it? I just had it under my finger. The Carter blue butterfly, Lyxides Melissa Samuelis, that only really grows by lupins, and a lot of their habitat destruction has been from things like mining and clear cutting and stuff, but also stopping the natural wildfires that come through and clear out certain parts of the underbrush so that more plant material can grow in the absence. And then in chapter 2, we're talking about learning about habitat reconstruction and experiments and stuff through the modality of was it wild ginger? Yeah, wild ginger, and then the jewel orchid, or angel orchid, really. So, fix this blue button here. Okay, so we're gonna switch screens for a sec. Okay, there we go. There we go. Alright, here we go. So, we've got the Carner Blue Butterfly, Lycides Melissa Samuelis, and they've got some interesting features, really. So we've got the larvae over here. This is the male up here with the darker band between the light blue and the white on the outside. And then you come down here, and this is the female. And this is the one that was being described in the text, where it's a dark blue, almost black, with orange crescents along the bottom edge of the wings. So, yeah. Federally listed as endangered in 92. Due to dramatic declines in population from habitat loss and modifications like fire suppression. So, yeah, with these guys. There's a picture book we can't remember the name of, about a woman who went all over the US sowing lupin seeds. That's cool. That is very cool. So, yeah, these guys, the larvae dudes over here, are pretty cool. I knew that there were some species of larvae that would produce like a I've usually heard it referred to as honeydew because it's got like sugars and nutrients and stuff, so therefore it's kind of a sweet something. And in the context of this and the butterflies. Ow, okay. Just gotta resituate for a sec. In the context of the butterflies and the butterfly larvae, in order to have them be protected, because they don't have any natural defenses or anything, they're just there on a plant, just chilling. They don't have any spines or I'm messing with the mic over here, or poisons or anything associated with them. But the species has developed a relationship with ants, so if something tried to attack the larvae, then the ants would come to their defense. And especially with it being an endangered species, that's something to really be aware of in context. So I can't remember what the percent was. It was like the larvae are about, 60% more likely to survive to adulthood if they have ants taking care of them. Because not only are the larvae there and the ants are fighting off anything that would come at them, but the larvae produce a kind of like the honeydew sort of droplets that provides like a nutrient to the ants, so they're invested in keeping the larvae safe because there's a food source there. And ants tend to, ants are kind of susceptible to fungi, so a lot of times they produce a kind of antifungal, antimicrobial sort of droplet situation like that and coat themselves in it, so they're less likely to be compromised by fungus or other pathogens. And because they're tending to the larvae, it kind of rubs off on the larvae, so they're safe from those same fungi and pathogens. All around a win-win, which is cool. However, from what I've read and stuff, it's kind of like the monarchs and butterfly weed, where adults can, in theory, visit other plants, but when they're laying their eggs, it's on the lupins. So, in the case of these guys, it looks like the adults can visit other plants, namely butterfly weed, among others. But the larvae only really develops, or they only seem to lay their eggs on the lupin plants. So in this case, honeydew is a nice way of saying sweat or secretions. Milkweed from monarchs. Yeah, well, milkweed and butterfly weed are the same thing. Yeah. I temporarily forgot milkweed because in the article where is it? Over there? The one on the screen right now, it's being referred to as butterfly weed. So, yeah. Milkweed. But yeah. And then we've got the lupins here. There we go. Yeah. Lupin, or the perennial lupins, or wild lupins. Huh. Yeah. There we go. Alright. Yeah. So we've got that. Ow. Good time for stretches. Alright. Really? Just want to get back to the article. There we go. Okay. It's palmately compound with 7 to 11 leaflets, arranged radially. Stalks are numerous, erect, striated, and slightly pubescent. Leaflets are obovate. Okay. Yeah, so it's a long inflorescence or inflorescence. That's one of those words, right? It's just like consistently a chore to say. Okay, here we go. Lupin has been declining in number and range since the Industrial Revolution. It's estimated it has decimated declined in number by about 90% since 1900. This decline has in turn deemed one of the primary causes. This decline has in turn been deemed one of the primary causes of the decline of the Carnar blue butterfly. Main threats to Lupinus perennis are thought to be habitat loss, habitat fragmentation, and poor management. Currently, it's considered rare in Pennsylvania, a species of special concern in Rhode Island, threatened in Iowa, Maryland, and New Hampshire, endangered in Vermont, and locally extinct in Maine. Yeah. Yeah, that would be part of it. One of the main problems is that the lupin sea coats are so tough that only pressure changes due to rapid heating or abrasion are strong enough to allow water to penetrate and start germination. Yeah. Yeah, I I realized driving around Friday that I got halfway through the sheep story. So, yeah, there we go. Either we can revisit it at the end of stream today, or we can start off Thursday with that. Because, yeah, I did the build up without the actual sheep bit. So, what, halfway? I don't remember, honestly. Alright. Sounds good. Okay. So, yeah. Last we heard before Scream and Doom was. That would be why. Yeah, no, I was saying a bit more, a little bit, but I wasn't aware that the stream had died by that point. So yeah, yeah. Are Lupin and Bluebonnets the same? I don't know. Actually, let's see. Well, I have these. That is a interesting question. Alright, and that's the Lupin wiki. Okay, Texas bluebonnets are actually 6 different Lupinus species, only one having the official name of Texas bluebonnet or Lupinus texanensis. Bluebonnets grow in most southwestern states, where wild lupin grows in Wisconsin and most northeastern states. Yep. Yeah. Bluebonnets and lupins are the same. It's just there's multiple species of chicken we talking about. Are lupin seeds and seed packets pre-abraded? That is a very good question. Alright, I think we might need some more time on that one. Because there's a number of yeah, there were a number of instances where it was saying how to grow lupins from seed, if you were collecting the seed, but not if it was seed packets. And if you're collecting the seed, you would have to subject them to the heat changes manually. Just like if you're growing garlic or something, a lot of times people put the cloves in the freezer for a little bit to mimic the frost, because garlic only starts growing after the frost. But I don't know on that one. But yeah, definitely something to further look into on that one. Right. So, okay. So we've got research time. Yes, indeed. I will say, right, like, well, it is slightly annoying a little bit that all the photos in here are black and white. In order for everything to still be on the same paper printing, that makes it a lot easier, I realize. And it all has like a kind of distressed field journal sort of vibe to it, which I appreciate. And if your eyes are good, you can see what the pictures are and whatnot. But like we've got, where is it? We've got the lupin spike here and the leaves down here with the background. Where's another one? And then a little bit later, it's the little blue stem grasses here. There we go. You can kind of see. And just flipping through it, there's a few that are a lot more visible, like the butterworts around here, and some that really aren't. Like the, I don't know, Diffenbachia, like this guy. So I know, or I can kind of infer why they would be using just black and white imagery. And for part of it, it works. And black and white photos you get are very, like, kind of intricate, intricate picture of the plant. Like, I realize that I can't see if it's in frame. Okay, one sec. So, like, this is the wild ginger over here. There we go. And where's it? And the flower is this part down here with the heart-shaped leaves up top. So yeah, that's one of those situations of the photography is fabulous. I don't know. But doing it that way, you don't have to have like a more glossy photo in there. It's just part of the rest of the text. So, an interesting choice. And then going back to the rest of chapter 1, going through the photosynthetic process and how warm weather grasses are more suited to drier climates. So if you have a situation where you're trying to grow something in a dry, desert-esque climate, like sand and whatnot, that drains really fast, they would be a better bet than cold weather grasses, because cold weather grasses aren't as efficient and keep their. I keep touching the mic, sorry guys. And keep their stomata open all the time versus the warm weather grasses that close them during the day and are still able to process the carbon dioxide that they've taken in and create oxygen without having it build up. Also, black and white is cheaper than color. Exactly. So, yeah. Yeah, no, the cover is like just, it's like, it's got a kind of tea-stained sort of patina to it and stuff, but it's all the same, it's all the same green tone, and the pages, it's all like, kind of a cream paper with black ink. The only thing that is not dark green or black on the entire thing is the mango logo. It's like bright orange. Our stomach curd in a desert-like climate. Warm knobs. I mean, I don't know how my brain jumped from in a desert-like climate, warm noms are better, to cobbler. But like, that's where we are right now, apparently. That's where we are. Or pie. Just pie in general. Really. But like, I haven't had it for like an age and a half, but strawberry rhubarb is still like top tier. Okay. And then for the rest of chapter 1, he's talking about how apparently no one was taking into account that trying to plant the lupin seeds or lupin seedlings in the straight sand soil was not working because it was essentially cooking the roots because the sand got to like, I don't know, what was it, between 115 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, and then went back down to 50 to 60 Fahrenheit at night, which would be hard for any kind of plant to kind of mitigate, but especially if it's in the first year of the plant's life cycle, it's not able to modulate what it needs, and there's no, especially for lupins and stuff, there's no giant taproot yet at that point. So, yeah, there'd be an issue with that. But they figured that out, and yeah. Okay, so now is chapter 2. Alright. Yes, cobbler is delicious. Indeed. Okay. Oh yeah, interesting point. I've heard a number of people say that ants are pollinators for certain plants and things. And it was brought up in here that the likelihood of ants being the main pollinators for a plant isn't that high because of that like antimicrobial coating that they kind of apply to themselves for their own protection, because that tends to negate pollen as a thing. Which is interesting. Okay. Wild ginger. Okay. Let's see if I can get this to load. Alright. So, chapter 2, we've got wild ginger and wild ginger, garlic mustard, Oswego tea, and the jewel orchid. So, come on. Alright, so we've got the flowers there. So this is the wild ginger. So we've got the ginger growing on the forest floor there. And it's called wild ginger because it has a similar flavor profile to culinary ginger. But where is it? But it's well armed with aristocratic acid that has carcinogenic and kidney damaging properties. So, the only critter that can routinely, work with that is this guy. Pipevine swallowtail. Which those little buddies are very cool. And this is one of those that, because the plant is toxic, the butterfly and the larvae are protected because they are now toxic too, to anything that tries to eat them, because the plant is toxic. Again, like the milkweed. Yeah. And then we have come on. Alright. We've got garlic mustard, or Alaria petiolata, which where is it? Is this one? Which is rather invasive. One of those examples of humans decided that it was useful and tasted good as long as it was harvested when the shoots were still pretty young. It has kind of a mustardy sort of aroma. No, garlicky sort of aroma. Where was it? Smell reminiscent of broccoli and garlic. So, it was brought to North America sometime in the 1860s. And yeah, like a lot of plants, once humans decided that it was useful, it got brought with them where they were going. Some of those have naturalized and they're fine and whatnot, like, dandelions and whatnot. Dandelions are found pretty much everywhere at this point, but are from Eurasia initially. And these guys, the mustard, or the garlic mustard, are one of those fun species where not only is it an invasive, but it's also an allelopathic plant, meaning that it doesn't just grow in new habitats. It sends out toxins to surrounding plant material that kills it off and prevents it from regrowing so that it can colonize the uninhabited spaces around it then. Mostly by not killing off the plant itself, but killing off the mycorrhizal fungi that works with the plant to help it synthesize nutrients and absorb minerals and things. Since neither plants nor the fungi have any evolutionary history in dealing with such compounds, the effect is stronger here in North America compared to garlic mustard's native range, where species had much more time to adapt. Understory plants like violets and trout lilies are usually the first to suffer. Between overcrowding and the loss of their fungal symbionts, they can't hold their ground for very long. However, garlic mustard's impacts don't end with smaller species. There is even evidence that trees can fall victim to its chemical attacks as well. Trees also rely heavily on mycorrhizal fungi, and when garlic mustard populations explode, trees have a much harder time finding fungi to partner with, and they too begin to decline. So, yeah. And depending on where the garlic mustard population is, it can go from just a few seedlings to a whole patch to like taking over a forest in just a couple of years if it's not dealt with. So, yeah. And then depending on how big the patch is, the soil would have to then replenish and be rehabilitated because all the native mycorrhizal fungi would have been killed off by the toxins from the garlic mustard. And especially if it's been there for an extended period of time, you have to deal with all of that. Yeah. Let's go back to this for a second. So, yeah. So that's the garlic mustard there. Also, it's notable that it's not really there we go. It's not really possible at this point to completely eradicate invasive species in a particular area, mostly because if it's been established for a bit, then in order to completely get rid of the invasives, you end up doing more harm to the environment than you would if you were just kind of mitigating the impact and pulling or otherwise getting rid of certain concentrations of plants. Especially if it's like so much a part of the landscape. So something to keep in mind. Is gentrification also a form of colonization? Answer that privately if you like, because we just realized it takes a hard left into politics. Being that gentrification tends to be, well, I mean, it is, but it tends to be rich white people going into communities of color and restructuring things so that, you know, other white people want to live there. I would say yeah. At least in certain ways. But yeah. Yeah. Well. It depends on that one. Just pulling out all the garlic mustard would be harmful to the landscape. If you're pulling it out, if you're removing it from the area, that's great. There's certain mustards in Southern California that are very invasive. Like I think it's around here it's Spanish mustard that gets to be like 6-8 feet tall, something like that. And the Forest Service goes out and pulls it because the native mustard is like, I don't know, 3 feet tall, and it can't get 2 or 3, I forget, but it can't get enough light, it can't photosynthesize. And the native California mustards and poppies are usually really abundant in the hills, and with the Spanish mustard, it's not so good on that front. Kind of the same, it depends on the answer on gentrification. Yeah, exactly. With the mustards and stuff, though, it depends on how you're going about getting rid of it. Because if you're trying to completely, let's go back to the book set. If you're trying to completely annihilate the presence of a particular species in an area, a lot of times there's not enough manpower or what have you to manually pull all the individual plants. Just like if there's an invasive animal, a lot of times there's not the ability to go out and hunt down all of the animals that have invaded the area. So you end up having to annihilate. Yes. So you end up having a situation where it's kind of a case by case situation where if you see a particular animal, like the boas that have been released in I forget if it's the Everglades or the Louisiana bayous, but they're there because I don't know, people have released their pet snakes into the swamps because that's a great idea. But because they're an invasive species, it's one of those that if they're seen, people make a note of them. So, Forest Service folks can go in and try and get the different, like the particular animals out of there. But in order to go about making sure that all of that particular species is not any longer in the area that they're in, you end up with situations like, I don't know, I think it was Australia was trying to control a rabbit population that had exploded, so they were putting poison traps places, but then the wildlife that, is from Australia, ended up getting into the poison traps, and it's like, in order to make sure that you've completely gotten rid of a particular invasive, you end up having to completely decimate the entire area that invasive is in. Because, especially for plants, there's seeds and roots and things, and depending on how that plant operates, you have to, I don't know, do a clear cut and burn everything, and for the most part, in the majority of situations, like if it's invasive enough that that's the only thing that is growing in a particular area and you have to remove it, sometimes that's what has to be done, I guess. But in doing so, you kill off everything else there too. It's like there's it's the equivalent of there's an infected community, so therefore you have to bomb it to make sure that the infection doesn't spread instead of treating the infection and making sure that no one leaves that particular area, no. Yeah, scorched earth warfare. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Precisely. And then you have, like, but then you have the other side of it where if you just leave it to do its thing, because, oh, well, there's plants, it's fine, then you have the entire rest of the ecosystem that depends on the plants that are getting pushed out, that are gonna not be there for a while. Exactly. Because, the bees and the moths and the birds and the whatever else that depend on all of the native plants because they're the native wildlife aren't doing so hot. So, yeah. Bomb the zombies! Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, God. Okay. So this right here is another example of a photo that, like, I appreciate that it's in black and white. But also, if it didn't have a caption, I would not know what that is. Because that is the floral display for the Oswego tea. So let's... I have that up, don't I? Right? Is that... That's the one that I don't have a thing for, right? Okay. Alright. I thought that was familiar. It's Scarlet Bee Balm. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Alright. Because in here it's Oswego tea or Monarda Didima. Didima. Yeah. Monarda Didima. But it's... Where is it? It's bee balm. Wait. Now I'm on a slight tangent. What's the difference between bergamot and... Wait a second. I realize that y'all can't see what I'm doing because I haven't switched it over to the other screen. There we go. Really? Well, okay. Alright. Seriously, like, why? I realize, right? I realize that, regional names are very distinctive sometimes. This is the first time I've ever heard the phrase Oswego tea in any capacity. But bergamot and bee balm are, yeah, all, okay. Alright, we're doing this. Alright, one sec. Slight shift in perspective. Alright. What does bee balm have to do with bergamot, which we thought was orange oil? No. Are bergamot and monarda the same thing? Monarda, commonly called bee balm or bergamot, is also known by the names Oswego tea and horsemint. Bergamot was identified in the 16th century by the Spanish medical botanist Nicolas de Monardes, whose name is used to identify the genus of plants. However, there is also a bergamot orange. So, there's that. Right, so we'll open that, let that do its thing, and for a little bit. We'll open this. What? Okay. Okay, we're thinking of Earl Grey tea, which has bergamot orange oil, I think. I don't know. Much confused? Yeah, this, on the one hand, I appreciate the scientific names, because then you can say, it's this plant that in this area is called this, in this area it's called this, in this area it's called this, but we're gonna call it this with subheadings. Alright, cool. But then, there's times that it's this is the scientific name. Dude, we've been working with this plant for the last 4,000 years. No, but it's scientific, so this is the official name now. I mean, okay, but no. So if it's from a European area, then alright. Use Latin, whatever. But if it's not, then that's a situation. Okay. Yeah. Bergamot is native to North America and was used to make an infusion by the Oswego Indians, hence the name Oswego tea. Okay, alright, that makes sense. Oswego tea was embraced as a beverage by the early American settlers, who after the Boston Tea Party in 1773 boycotted Indian tea, which was traded by the English. Bergamot was identified in the 16th century. No. What? Was identified in the 16th century by the Spanish medical botanist Nicolas de Monardes, whose name is used to identify the genus of plants. Bergamot gets its name from the similarity it has an aroma to the bergamot orange, Citrus bergamia. Oil of bergamot comes from the bergamot orange and is used to flavor Earl Grey tea. Okay. It's a member of the mint family. There's a dozen or more tubular-shaped flowers clustered in a pom-pom-shaped whorls atop strong square stems. Yeah. Can be a substitute for sage in stuffings. Alright. Cool. Alright. Nice. But, like, just as a thing, right? Oh. Hummingbird day. Look at that. They proposed renaming to Space Moth. No confusion potential there. Oh, jeez. Yeah. But yeah, like, I appreciate that it's, a close-up and stuff. But that's, like, taking an image that's something like that and making it black and white, you could totally tell what it is. Right? Like that. But, like, what? Guys, what? But then again, who knows what kind of input anyone has on, there's a hair stuck in it. What? There we go. But yeah, hummingbird friend. Over yonder there. Yeah. Wait. Let me go back. One sec. I can see it. Wow. I mean, it kind of looks like Wing's demented cousin. A little bit. Just sort of. Sort of, kind of. Alright. So we've got this little buddy over here. And just cause the birdie's pretty. There you go. If you wanna look at the hummingbird friend. Alright. So next we've got this guy. So The last plant that is mentioned in chapter 2 is the jewel orchid, or Lewissia discolor. That is one of those that isn't. It doesn't grow on another plant. It's its own plant, grows in soil, just regular soil, but tends to not have a deep root system, and instead just kind of grows in the detritus layer on the forest floor with like a little bit of a root system into the soil itself, as opposed to like in bark and whatnot, like other orchids seem to prefer. So we'll just cut back here. So where are you? There you are. So that is, there we go. That is the jewel orchid image in here. So we've got the inflorescence up top, and the dark leaves with the red veining at the base there. And these particular ones, it looks like were the flowers evolved to be pollinated by cabbage butterflies, white cabbage butterflies. Cabbage white butterflies, there we go. And yeah. There's a lot of notations in there that pollination is kind of a complex situation and it's not fully understood. Pollination runs the spectrum from general to extremely specialized, with all different shades in between. Yeah. Also, it turns out that pollination isn't just for flowering plants. A handful of gymnosperms and even some bryophytes have gotten into the animal pollination game, and they go about it in some surprising ways. So that's going to be addressed in the wild world of plant sex. It's chapter 3, so we'll see what happens with that next week. But it was mentioning that the flowers are kind of strategically asymmetrical, so that it forces the butterflies to stand in just the right spot to like ensure that the flowers are pollinated. So need to switch back. Nope. Come on. There we go. So we've got the overview here. And one of the things that he was mentioning in there is that all the, like, plant aficionado books and stuff, and blogs and whatnot, say, unfortunately, the plant itself and the flowers are not showstoppers. They're easily overlooked. It's kind of, it's kind of boring. Which, like, it looks really cool. Look at that. That's just sad. So we've got the foliage there, and the kind of fleshy stem. It's easy to propagate, grows pretty fast, and from the sounds of it, this is the one that's being mentioned in the book, directly at least. And then we've got the Lucia Discolor alba, that is this guy, with the green leaves with white veining. Lightning bolt jewel orchid. Right? No. The lightning bolt jewel orchid is this one. Okay, that makes sense. What? Yeah, no, that is the alba. And it looks like the lightning bolt isn't pictured. Okay. And then the rest of it is just how to take care of it. So, yeah. Terrestrial orchids that in their natural setting would be found growing on the forest floor. They're known for their foliage, which is often a deep velvety maroon with red veins that run parallel to the center of the leaf. Flowers are white with twisting yellow columns. Individual flowers are small but grow in clusters on upright stalks. Flowers in cultivation last a month or more. They need high humidity and warm temperatures with low to medium light and tolerate extremely low light levels. Alright. Oh yeah, also, going back to the lupins for a second, it was noted, like, part of the research trying to part of the research on trying to get them growing was showing that they did better under the slight canopy of, like, nurse plants around the grasses that were growing in that particular plot of land, mostly because it would help regulate the, like, temperature fluctuations so that they didn't completely fry just out on their own. But then there's a situation where when they're young that works, but as they grow, they start competing with for resources with the plants that were there as like nursery support as they were growing. So that is a situation to keep in mind. So that is it for the preface through chapter 2. Next Monday we're doing 3 and 4, which I marked out the tabs here. Yeah, there we go. And it looks like 3 and 4 are pretty. That's a pretty sizable chunk. 5 and 6, it looks like, are going to be the shortest section of the book, and then 7 and 8 are maybe slightly shorter than 3 and 4. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, overall, it's an interesting one. It's not like a compendium on the, botanical whatever. But if you're interested in plants, even if you don't have a background in plants, there's some cool stuff in there. Yeah. And it's got the whole thing of, talking about the natural world through the lens of individual experience, which is cool. Alright, what are they doing? Where? There we go. It's like, where is the tab that has Twitch open? I don't know. Okay. CosmoQuest. Okay, being that my computer is being really slow about everything. What? Okay, Freckled Science. I'm seeing Welcome Back. CosmoQuest. Where's it? Come on. There we go. Okay. Okay. Do we want to do Air and Space Flight VV-19 or whatever it is that Freckled Science is doing? I'm just asking because if I click on it, then it'll take like 5 minutes to try and get back. Actually, let's do that. In other news, like, no. Yeah, I've been listening to audiobooks so much that sometimes I forget the podcasts exist. Which is weird because, like, I have one, so. Yeah. I don't know about that. Okay. So, do we want to visit Freckled Science that looks like they're doing something with computer schematics. Or okay. Okay, one sec. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, one sec. There we go. Yeah. If Freckled Science is on next week, we can go visit them. Come on. Come on. Let me type, dang it. In theory. It's maybe working. I don't know. Alright. Thank you very much, everyone, for hanging out and taking part in today's stream. If you're watching this back after the fact, yeah, one sec. If you're watching this back after the fact, thank you for hanging out and watching it. Have a fabulous rest of your day, everybody. And yeah, I will see y'all later. Bye now. And yeah, remember next week, chapters 3 and 4. Alright. Let's see. Turn the sound back on. Let's see how this works. There we go. Okay.